then this was not one of the interviews that I had actually planned on doing, but I am certainly thankful that I have the ability to.
B-roll. We'll keep it tight.
Sure, I'm not going to call it B-roll. I think this will be worthwhile in itself. But would you like to introduce yourself to anybody who may be watching, maybe unfamiliar with you?
Absolutely. Greetings, everyone. My name is Kelly Glenn Robinson, and I live here in Douglas County, Georgia. And I'm going to take a little time to just give you some background on my story. That would be a better way to introduce me.
Sure.
And Chris, I appreciate you having me here. I believe this is worthwhile. I've sat here and I listened to your prior segment, and you talked about the election and the process and what we're going through.
Mm-hmm.
What I like to bring to this story is somebody who was actually elected and what that means from that side of the fence.
That would certainly be a perspective I actually haven't had on my channel before.
I always look at people who are part of the political party side. There's the guys who are actually at war. Mm-hmm. The Pentagon versus the person who's actually out there fighting. Those are two different views. So hopefully this will bring some balance. Mm-hmm. But with that being said, so here I am in Douglas County. You heard the story. Georgia, as you know, is one of the penal colonies, the last one to come through. It's the fourth union, fourth state of the union, 1788. This is important. So here we are with civil rights, in 1964. In 1965 is the Voting Rights Act. So I was born in 1966, the year of the Flintstones and Batman. So this is important. So think about it. I'm the firstborn of the voting right. So here I am. So you
got to have the experience of watching that world change around you.
That's right.
That makes sense.
But here's something that Gazoo once said. It's not could you have done it, but should you have done it? Mm-hmm. And I use that lesson today. In other words, why did he get banished from the Jetsons to the Flintstones? There is a fabric within ourselves as a human. Like it's not could you have done it, but should you have done it? Should you have created a button that could blow up the universe? Should we put the things in place that will harm another human, that will decimate, that will take away? So I give that as context. So here we are, fast forward. And so here I am, 1990, I moved into Douglas County. This is important. Mm-hmm. So in 1990, we had exactly 71,000 people. I am here with my roommate, brand new, straight out of college. I did not go to a historically Black college, but I did pledge a historically Black fraternity Kappa Alpha Psi. I must give a shout out to. Sorry, guys. I mean, that's what this is about. And it was all about, but it was important. It was all about achievement, right? It was scholastic. So I wanted, I had to put that nod in there. But here I am, 1990. There's 71,000 people. Based on the 2020 census, there's what 142,000?
It's almost a doubling.
Our population has doubled since I've been here. This is important. So me coming online in 2008, I first got elected. I came in with President Barack Obama. So I'm in the class of 08. But prior to that, I spent time working my way through college. Mm-hmm. I worked for the banking industry, grew up in Wachovia Bank. I give shout out to them. It's okay. They're no longer here. But I was a senior VP. I had a chance to work in Hamburg, Madrid, London, and Tokyo.
So you've been around.
International consultant. That was after that and came back into industry. So that was for 15 years.
That give you a lot of perspective on the world around you.
Correct. But so here I am in 08. So my first 15 years of my life, I've only been involved in corporate America. Mm-hmm. The next 15 was solely politics. I suspended everything. I did not work. I threw my soul into just, let me get this right for the people. And this is what I want to share with the people who are watching this.
You dived into being a public servant.
That's it. I went deep. I had to learn this thing. I'm not a legacy. I knew nothing about politics. I happened to bump into somebody like the ladies were saying earlier, we're out here trying to advocate, get people involved. Mm-hmm. Somebody just happened to tap me out at the restaurant. They tapped me on the shoulder like, hey, have a little chit chat and stuff. Next thing you know, they're calling me saying you should run for office based on your background. They just, I said, you must be out your mind. I'm gonna run to the bank. But I thought about it. And I took about a week or so to think about it. It's like, you know what? I'm going through a divorce at this time. I mean, you'll have those life events that like, okay, I ain't got nothing else to do. Why not? And I dug deep. So here we are in 08. It was a very different place back in Douglas County at that time. It was still rural. Right then at that time was about 128,000 people, give or take. It was small, but it hadn't really developed the way it has today. And so what you saw was between 1990 to the time I took office was this in-migration. That 71,000 represented the people pretty much who grew up here. Then you had migration. So that you got to get balance. So you had this group of people who are, I've been here all my life.
Mm-hmm.
I know nothing other than what I know here. Then you had another part of the population that grew into this. It's all the same. So here I am as an elected official in 08, like, now I've got to balance these voices.
You've got to be a good representative for both of those people, the people who are more world weary and the people who are more down home.
Right.
Makes sense.
But getting property rights is immediate. It's not about my family's had this for 100 years and I feel so entitled or above the law or the code. Like, no, everybody's equal. Well, I gave $1,000 for my tax dollars, and so the lady over here got $1. So I'm gonna take her $1. Like, no, she's gonna get her dollar. And so I wanted to share this perspective about what you get for your vote. Mm-hmm. Because once you do vote now, do you see the manifestation of what you thought you were going to get?
And a lot of people don't feel like they do sometimes.
So Chris, why is that?
I think for a lot of people, it might be that they don't know where to pay attention. They feel like when they cast their vote, that's it. They feel like their participation in democracy begins and ends at the ballot box. And then they tune out from politics after that point. They're not actively watching what their representative is doing for them.
Well, here's the thing, and this I can acknowledge this. When I came in, there was no transparency. It was silent. You had to figure out, wait, there's 13 families pretty much running this. It didn't take me long to figure it out, to see who's connected to, like, no, this is serious. Like, ooh. And you're looking at how votes are going down. And you got to pay attention to how this makes sense. But if I'm out there advocating, I'm not going to do it for you to vote for me. My platform should be what you have represented. So can we get some transportation? Can we get some mental health? Can we get some things? Can we see our tax dollars? Can we experience our tax dollars on a daily basis? That's up to the elected official to make that relevant, because the citizens don't know. Most people haven't gone through some type of civic academy. Maybe they're not legacy. Maybe they're not active. So I want the person who hasn't had that experience like me, like, look, we can learn this, right?
You want those people to become more educated voters.
Right.
Who can actually see where their tax dollars are going to work.
Correct. But it's up to elected officials to actually deliver that information to them. Mm-hmm. That's key. You got to make sure that you're transparent. Say, all right, this is where we are with the budget. So I always believe in this 4 things. You educate, you advocate, you legislate, and you appropriate. That's all I stand on. Those 4 things. First, you got to educate yourself on how this thing works, how the tax. I mean, remember, I'm just one vote. Mm-hmm. Unlike in Georgia, I'll put it that way. Unlike at the national level, you have a president and you have Congress, right? Mm-hmm. At the state level, you have a governor and you have what? The General Assembly here in Georgia. Yep. At the city level, you have what? A mayor, city council. Then all 3 of those, the mayor gets to veto, the governor gets to veto the president. At the county level, no, we all equal. It's a different jurisdiction. So if we're all equal, I'm advocating for my district. Obviously the chair is countywide, mm-hmm. But here you already got these 4 people who are representing there, and each one of us have a different character area. And it's important that you advocate. So for me, I don't take credit for anything, recognizing that I had to get something done with 3 votes. Mm-hmm. And everybody you got to get a 3. You have to have democracy. But somebody has to put something on the table. And what I challenge anybody who's like, no, it was easy to fight. I mean, I had 2 terms in the minority. 08, I beat this guy he was the mayor of Douglasville for 24 years and the commissioner for 6 years, 30 years.
He was a very, very well-established person in local politics.
Correct. Old school, old brig, beat him. My second term, I had primary only, beat that. Sorry, so I'm in the minority. In 16, we took the majority from a commissioner perspective, and that's when it shifted. So at that point, I had a general only, beat that. And what you saw was a shift that people just wanted to be included in their voices. They just wanted to see that. They wanted to experience their tax dollars. Mm-hmm. And Douglas County did a wonderful job, which is why I'm coming on here like, no, we got work done. Oh no, we learned how to do the budget. We learned how to reappropriate, ensure that we got not only the main streets repaved, you got your subdivision repaved. In other words, no, you don't experience your tax dollars on a daily basis. No, we only got this one Jimmy here. We down 4. No, we're going to do this. Now you do have opposition. Mm-hmm. But the point is like, I got your vote. Thank you. You're a no, but let me go talk to the other 999 other people. And so what you have is that, no, there is a fight. There is a push. There is a difference. And I've been in a room and blessed to see, ooh, these people don't really care. Ooh, these voices. You've been in executive session. You like, woo. But at the same point, like,
it starts to get kind of overwhelming at that point, I imagine.
Well, I'm old school. I grew up on comics. I'm like the Hulk. I get stronger. I don't.
So you see that big wall, and you go, okay, no, that's just something that I'm going to get a lot stronger as I'm climbing it.
This is where I'm going. This is where I'm going. Now, but I can't dictate. I've got to have two other people to join me. But at least I'm putting stuff on the table that represents the interests of not only just my district, but it's inclusive of other people. I mean, we advocated for mental health. We advocated for HOA involvement and stuff. It started mostly with my district, but other people took it on. So what's key is that now you got to fight, Chris. When I hear the weariness, and I went 4 terms. I probably went on, but it was like, that's long enough. I'm the 109th commissioner in our county's history, the longest reigning ever. The record will be broken, but I've done my job. You heard the prior speaker said she's 78. Well, I'm 58. The person who's replacing me is 38. It is time to sometime pass it on.
Pass the baton on to the next person in the race.
But only if you got some work done. I could retire early because I got to work done.
Because you feel like you did your part.
My citizens are pleased, they got it, but it's time to move on. I've got other things to do. I'm working on this national platform for housing. I've got a company I started. Again, 15 years corporate, 15 years political. Now I'm about to do my own thing, but I'm still young. Usually when you come into office, you are gray-haired and more seasoned and after life, right?
Yeah.
If you start trying to do this now and you're trying to work full-time and be an elected official, it's hard to do.
I know there's a lot of people who have a very negative stigma against what they'll call career politicians, people whose job it is to be a servant of the people, as if that is a bad thing to be on its face, which I don't personally believe that is, but why do you think they have that negative stigma about them?
Well, when I came to office, I only wanted to do 1 term. I mean, again, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing this 1 term, figure out my life and figure out when I'm going to go. But once I got into it, I'm like, ooh, it got good. Mm-hmm. Before my father passed on in my second election, it was in 2012, 3 rounds of cancer. He says, remember the guy you beat? He put his name in the initials. I won't say what his name is. His name is Camp. Mm-hmm. The guy you beat. There is something about longevity. And I get it. Being the senior statesman now, 4 terms, I get it, Dad. Because I've seen everything. I know what that means. I know how to, I get it. You're not just a 1 term. You have to been through enough.
You came in bright-eyed and bushy-tailed first, and now you're coming out seasoned. You're coming out knowing everything that, maybe not everything you could know, but everything you've needed to know up to that point.
It's relative, Chris.
Yeah.
Of course, no, but I can only say this now. But to your point, no, I don't want to be a lifer. Because at some point, before, I wasn't trying to keep my job. I just did my job. I didn't care what a person thought, didn't care about the social media. And, not that I'm blind through glaucoma. It didn't really matter to me. But the point is, but this is where I'm going. I didn't have that fear. That wasn't my problem. I wasn't trying to be liked. I'm trying to get stuff.
You're trying to be effective.
Right. So once you got done your body of work, okay, well, I'm done. Now, the minute that I keep trying to extend that's when you get compromised to me. It's like, no, it's time for me.
Because at that point you're not trying to be a servant of the people anymore. You're trying to be a servant of yourself.
Correct. Or just the system itself.
Yeah. And that's when you decided to go ahead and pass the baton off.
Yeah, that's it. But it was a perfect time. But I already announced in 2020 this is my last term. But I retired early just because I took it. I forced it. All right, now let's get this next group in here. And we're very proud of the process we went through. We got this young one. Now they're going to be stronger, faster, better. Go on. But they've got a foundation to stand on. They've got something to work with. And so we're excited about Doug Turner because, again, we're the first generation Democrats to now got the majority. So, I'm the old head now. Now, y'all go ahead now. Y'all do better. Y'all go further. I expect them to. But they do have something to work with.
You've made things more healthy for the next generation.
Correct.
So, and that's awesome.
So, but again, Chris, this is not easy. You got to fight for democracy. Again, you got people who said, if I want it, you don't get it. And if I don't want it, nobody gets it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not debating it like that.
You're not debating effectively civil rights and things that people's tax dollars are going for. You're not looking at it as a zero-sum game.
Correct.
You're looking at it as let's try to get as much for everybody as they possibly can get.
You're a man after my heart, Chris. Right. You got to be inclusive. I approach it from okay, everybody weighing in on this legislation. You don't like that provision, you don't like that, but drive it. You got to drive it. You got to put it on the table. Come on, guys, weigh in. You don't like that? Okay, I'm cool. But you move the agenda.
You have to get everybody. You don't have to get everybody on board with whatever opinion you have. You have to get everybody on board with doing the work. Period.
That's the key. But part of that was to educate my peers. Come on, guys, learn legislation now. Yes, we go to classes. Yes, we go to the national classes. That obviously the state classes. But you got to apply this, Chris. And again, one of the other things I said is I also I'm a part-time instructor at Georgia State. So I teach. So I'm an educator. So I'm an educator. I'm a consultant. I'm a banker. So I'm a unique animal, right? Because I've had these life experiences, not just in America, but across. So I bring that here to be able to say, well, I get along with everybody. But all right, y'all all weigh in, but you can still, but a road is a road, whether you feel the pothole from the left side or right side. It's a hole. It's a community.
And we're all going to have to drive on it regardless.
Correct. So it doesn't really matter at the local. Now I get as you go up the food chain and weight class, I understand that there's different elements you have to take in. But remember, politics is local. And you should measure things locally. Like, well, did you get something locally? I'm the one that goes to the senators at the state and the national level, say, look, we need some more money for transportation leverages, for mental health. But these things are important. I mean, we brought a minimum wage here to Douglas County. We've been talking about transportation and mental health for 10 years. For 10 years. That, in other words, we've been doing it for 10 years. Now I hear you talking about on a national platform, but
we've been trying to get it for the people who live here.
Right. We've already been doing the best we can. So you got to fight for this. So I do believe you should hold your elected officials accountable. Like, okay, guys, y'all have town halls, do you have newsletters, whatever your mechanism, you have Facebook, whatever you use, are you communicating? And then are you taking their voices and are you translating that? Say, like everything I've ever advocated for, I can tell you each citizen that I heard from, that drove that spun it, that seeded it. You got to go talk to other people, but you got to want this. You got to fight, Chris.
That's the thing that I've tried to communicate to people in my audience a lot is that you do have access to your elected officials. There are people who feel like they do not have access to them. And I've gone and lobbied at the Georgia Capitol before.
Yes.
It's not the hardest thing in the world to do.
Right.
Everybody can do it. But very few people feel like they can. I think it's a good idea to get more people feeling like they can have that two-way relationship with their politicians as opposed to it being, again, the one way where they vote and then try to forget about it.
Well, I'm gonna try to frame this toward the end of our conversation. So to your point, so I get Congress and I get down at the Capitol. Well, I live with my citizens. I'm local. I see them at the Publix. I see them at the dry cleaner. I see them at the mall. I see them at the restaurant. And so one of those where if you're living amongst them, well, it's easy access. So whatever I'm out,
you can hear what they need because you're there.
I'm there. I'm public. I sit with them at the local cigar bar. Like, okay, so how y'all doing? What's going on? What do y'all think about this? Should I actually pay these guys $60,000 for a raise from $42,000 for our public safety officer? Well, Commissioner Robinson, that's all they get paid is $42,000. Oh, you got to do something about that. Got it. Be right back. So
you'll be able to get those opinions directly from there instead of having to have a constituent that is a liaison for you. You're just in the thick of it getting the information.
Well, you have a formal, there's formal and informal. Again, I was sold out. I'm like, I live amongst mine. I'm gonna take off my princely robes. I'm gonna be out here with the people. It was about the people, Chris. In other words, I'm a model that says, like, look, I don't know about anybody else, but in our county and in my district, like, no, I represented the people. And it was important for me to advocate their voice. It was none of me. It was just like, okay, what y'all need? Be right back. Let's see if I can get it done. Be right back. And so, sometimes you got to fight. You don't always get what you want, but did you fight?
Did you do your best for it?
And that's all citizens are really careful. Like, okay, he went to town. We get these other people why they didn't vote, but we appreciate that you stood up because sometimes people are afraid of opposition. You got to have a backbone. You got to be strong because you really move it forward because you do have counter forces.
And there are people who don't want you to have the civil rights that you should be entitled to. I get that. Well, I do want to say thank you very much for yielding your time to me. I appreciate it greatly.
Absolutely. I appreciate it. Oh, yes. So look, I thank you, Madam Emeritus. I gave her that title. But no, we're look, I'm on the bench now. I'm on the senior tour, but I do have a book. It's called, right now it's titled Blind Sight. I've got, it's my code name project. And it's telling my memoirs as an elected official who did this body of work with his eyes closed. You got to remember that I showed up every day. Only missed 3 meetings. 2 times I was on the table for my eye surgery and one when my dad passed. I don't miss meetings. And I add value to every conversation, every agenda item. So I'm going to tell this story, Blind Sight, a memoir of obviously an African-American politician in the South and the work that I did. And so you need to, I'm going to tell it like this, but I get to tell it in a way that, no, you're going to see it through my eyes and showing up and be able to make difference. where, you know, even if you are disabled, if you are different, it's like, well, I can't tell what you are right now. We're all human. You still get stuff done. So I look forward to that. Thank you for that plug. Blind Sight is coming soon. And again, look out for us with this company called Archimate. We're doing this national program. I get, you know, obviously, you know, Queen Joy, presidential nominee Kamala Harris. Make sure you vote for her. But that housing, everybody, it's all about housing. And so I've got this national platform I'm rolling out. You'll see more about it. Archimate, Kelly Robinson. Stay tuned. Chris, thank you for having me on your show.
Thank you for being here. I appreciate it.
I hope your people were blessed by my presence. Thank you.
I think they will be as well. I want them to have as many perspectives as they possibly can.
Thank you.
Hey, just wanted to give a quick thank you to all of my wonderful patrons who help keep me afloat and help keep this channel going. YouTube and Twitch are wonderful platforms, but at the end of the day, stability is not one of their strong suits. If you want to support my channel, then obviously Patreon is one of the best ways of doing that. Link is in the description. But I do want to personally thank everybody who has contributed to the channel. Those people would be Red Joker, Purple Poundini, Jemshin, Britzkrieg, Jupe the Malignant, Michael, Ravalern, Mabbity Babbity, Astral Frontier, Autumn and Angel, Nixie Chan, Agamotto, Victorian Alchemist, I'm not saying the last part of that, and you know that, Arcton Arclacier, Kiratorian, Dren Hadamata, Jordan M, John L, Lord Bleck, Smiling Game Master, and Fireshard. And everyone else who supports my channel and lets me do what I do full time. This is a dream job of mine that I never believed that I would be able to take full time, and with your help, I've been able to do it. So thank you so very much for that. Thank you for watching the video. I hope you all enjoy, and I hope you all are having a wonderful time. I will see you all in the next one, hopefully.